Hey guys, thanks for listening to The Cynical Nerd. Please keep in mind that we do not avoid spoilers for any of our topics, whether they are current or past media. Listen at your own risk.
Oh, damn it. In the daytime is so bright, but I can't. The fucking window unit's in it, so I can't pull the blinds over it, or it just covers the AC.
Oh, because you don't have top down. You got the sidey boys.
Mm-hmm.
That's
some
fine.
Real lateral restrictions I have going on here.
Some real lat restrictions.
Yeah.
The window unit I have up here, is working fine. But whenever the condenser comes on, it has a really loud rattle that I could probably take it apart and figure out what it is and fix it. But
why do that?
I just,
don't do that.
Just, we're randomly hashtag adulting. We're trying to move out of this house. Obviously, the market sucks.
Yeah.
But we were originally, before the market started to suck so much, big fat cock, trying to move out like the end of the year after like Christmas. It's, we try to find another house. Before we do that, we have to fix essential air, and we would like to put in hardwood floors. It would up the resale value, look, all that good stuff. So we've been like talking about this for weeks and weeks about like getting her dad owns his own carpentry business. He's got a bunch of connections, having somebody come out, and it just felt like it was never going to happen. Like we just kept asking about it, and then all of a sudden, randomly. I'm out last night with some old friends from literally elementary school. Like we scheduled a dinner together to catch up. And she's like, "Oh, the guy's coming over to look at our central air unit." And he showed up at like 8 fucking o'clock and like kept Grayson from going to sleep. Whatever, first world problems.
Oh wow.
Because he was there for like an hour, like taking pictures and shit. And now, just like that, we have a quote, and they're probably coming out later this week, and I'm going to lose a bunch of money.
Oh,
you know, but it's getting replaced. So
I have a buddy at work who they're for the same reason. They're trying to spruce up their house so that they can sell it. And the amount of money for like central air, like, obviously the initial installation, and then if anything goes wrong with it, it's like he's throwing numbers at me that I'm like, make no sense to me. I'm like, that would ruin my life. I don't know how you're talking about this, how it's like an inconvenience. We'd be on the fucking street if that happened to me. It's unreal. The other thing is, but my understanding with like how bad the housing market is and how desperate people are to buy.
Yeah.
You can have like dead bodies in your living room and people will be like, we'll buy, we'll do it now. Just sign papers.
And honestly, I would be totally fine. We talked about it. Like, if all the prices rise, then our house is currently worth like almost $100K more than when we bought it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna make a bunch of money on it, but all the houses are that much more expensive. So in reality, it kind of levels itself out.
Yeah.
That's not the problem. The problem is the interest rates also suck. So in reality, I think we're gonna stay here for a couple more years until the prices fall. But in the meantime, we're still trying to get that shit fixed. So yeah, it's only going to set me back a cool like $4,000.
Yeah. This is literally the most boring opener to any of our podcasts. This is the one. This is boy, having to spend money to fix things. Am I right?
Guys, they've devolved. You've taken
they lost it around episode 68 a little bit, didn't they?
You guys have devolved from charming dad conversations to just dad conversations. So anyway, he told me it was the condenser. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, anyway, back to what you were saying.
Cocks and balls. This is episode 68. We are one away from our peak. We'll never get better than that.
Never. Until episode 420.
Yeah, we know we're probably, let's be real, both going to be dead by episode 420.
Almost
so
certainly.
69 is, it's aiming high. Yeah. It's the blowout party. We're going to have a block party and some music, and we'll put the address up at the end of next episode. How's your Sunday? We are recording on a Sunday for the first time in like 2 months, and I'm excited about it.
I got to tell you, I'm having an exceptionally bad day.
Oh no.
We had this is the first day ever. Everything's okay. You always have to start with that whenever you start a story about your kid getting hurt. Everything's
shit.
okay. He turned out fine. today was the first day Odin took a real tumble. Like, he's fallen plenty of times.
Yeah.
Like, he's banged himself up. Nothing more than just like a couple minutes of just a little whatever. He fell, and just like the way he fell, he just landed on his lip, and his fucking lip just exploded in blood. Like, just blood everywhere. I mean, lips bleed like a motherfucker. You have so many blood vessels up there. And so, like, I'm taking his shit, and I'm right about to go into work to get some overtime this weekend.
Right.
And I'm taking a shit before I go, and I hear this bang, and then I hear him scream, and I go, right, normal. And then I hear Veronica scream, and I'm like, oh no, this is an emergency. And I ran my naked ass off of the toilet across the fucking house to come in here. So, of course, you pick him up and you see he's covered in blood. You're like, he broke his nose. Like, he's something
You're like,
in there
he's dead. He's dying.
He's dead. This is it. This is the last time I'll level.
This is how long it lasted.
Yeah. He just has a little tiny cut on his lip, but of course, your lip, your eye, the vascularity up there is ridiculous. So they bleed a lot.
Yeah.
Closed up. He's fine. He's got a little fat lip. He's fine. Everything's okay.
Yeah, they're good. They're rubber.
Yeah. But I was like, I'm not going to work now. Like, I'm not, this ruined my whole, I mean, it was an optional thing. I didn't have to go to work, but I was just like, if I hadn't stopped and taken that shit, Veronica would have had to handle that all by herself. And I'm like, all right, well, what if something happens when I leave now? I'm like, now I just feel like I have to be home and just be like a damaged net in case.
Yeah, Ron, this is your fault.
No, that's not. How dare she?
Yeah, it's really fucked up.
But dude, I mean, I'm obviously I'm talking about it like it's a joke, but holy fuck, in the moment it was horrifying.
Yeah. And I mean, how old is he now? He's almost a year,
almost
right?
A year, yeah.
It'll be a year next month.
Yep. Well,
God
like 2
damn.
weeks.
So you made it a nice long time before he had a real proper bang up. Yeah. And I don't mean to frighten you.
There's a lot more coming, I know.
But right after they start walking, there's a period of like 4 months. Like, dude, I've told you this before. Grayson hit his head on our hardwood floor so hard that I thought he was just instantly brain dead. Like, I'm saying that and it sounds horrific, and I'm saying it in jest because he was totally fine. But it was like, oh my God, I watched it. It was slippery socks, hardwood floor, feet went right out from under him and just crack. And I was like, oh my God, like, he's dying. He's got internal hemorrhaging. We have to take him to the hospital right. And he cried, and he had a big welt on the back of his head. Totally fine. They're rubber bands, dude. It's crazy.
Well, that's the one and only benefit of him having the fucking plagueocephaly helmet, is that he has a helmet on all the time. So like, this would have probably been a lot worse if he didn't have that helmet on. So thank goodness he didn't. But anyway, so like, I looked it up, and what you're saying is literally what I inferred from what I had looked up. So I'm like, afterwards, once everything was fine, the bleeding stopped, he was calmed down. He was in a bad mood for a little while, but whatever. He's tough guy. But I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, my kid, his lip is bleeding. Like, what do I do? What do I clean it with? And it was all this company stuff, like kids who are up and walking around fall and get fat lips all the time. And I'm like, mine's not walking yet. So I fucked something up here. But no, so I'm like, now I'm trying to mentally prepare, like, this is nowhere near the last time that I'm.
God.
Can you imagine? Not to sound like those like pearl clutching pussy dads or anything, but like, our kids are probably going to play sports one day, right? At least they'll try it out. Yeah. You just see your kid get tackled by someone twice their size. It's just gonna hurt.
I can see you sprinting out on the green, like, get the fuck off of them.
Anyway, how's your day? I hope it's better than mine. The bar's pretty low, so that would.
Yeah. My Sunday is going great. I had a great time last night at Iron Hill Brewery around here. Thank you for the sponsorship of this week's episode. I did this thing where I got there. I see one of my old friends. Her name's Julia. I sit down. We start talking. We're the only two people there, and the waitress comes over, and she came over so swiftly. Like, we sat down, immediately started talking. I'm like 3 sentences into a story. And she comes in so swiftly and asks me if I didn't even looked at anything on the table yet. Mm-hmm. And I was so flustered. She was a great waitress, obviously, because she came over so quickly. But I was so flustered by her sudden appearance. Like, she was like, hey, you want to drink? And also, we have this membership club for this thing where, like, you instantly get all your beers upgraded to like a 22 ounce, and you get a special mug.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, sure, fine, whatever. Just please leave me alone. I was talking. I didn't say that. I'm not that much of a cunt.
You do that like
rich
person thing, like whatever. Your finest on the menu, please.
Yeah,
go.
I didn't even make eye contact with her. No, I'm just kidding. Look at my feet. I looked over and I was like, yeah, sure, yeah, yeah, sounds good. Just trying to speed things along.
Yeah.
And she's like, all right, it's $20. And in my head, I'm like, motherfucker, you just got me.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, sure. I'd never been there. Nice place. It's only 20 minutes from here. I guess I'm gonna go back. Yeah. But I'm like, okay, sure. And she walks away. Julia's like, "You've been here? Oh, you've been here before?" And I was like, "Nope, first time." Yeah. So that's how you really establish dominance at a table. So you just come in and immediately spend $20. How much is it going to be tonight? I'd love to start off with 20.
Whenever I go out for whatever, like you develop these like budgeting habits as you get older. Whenever I'm like out with friends doing anything, it's all gone. It's like I'm 14 years old and I just found $200 on the ground again. Like it's just like when we went to the steakhouse, it's like, do you want to add black garlic to this for $45? I was like, yeah, why wouldn't I do that? That makes so much sense. Wait, didn't
we did that when we went to the steak place? We added like fucking we were like, sure, I'd love to double the price of this already expensive
Take
cut.
This $50 cut and add a $45 topping to it. That's clearly worth it.
Cool. Yeah, welcome to episode 68 of The Cynical Dad, where you've gotten dad story after dad story after dad story. We have a little bit of week in review. 4 trailers to talk about. I pulled one out the other day because it wasn't really relevant. 2 main topics. I am going to do something I usually don't do, which is tell you that I thoroughly enjoyed both of the films that we had to watch this week. And it was surprising for me because it doesn't happen that often.
Yeah.
And they were both wonderful in completely different ways. We'll get to it later. Anyway, those main topics are Everything Everywhere All at Once and surprisingly, the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers movie that was on Disney Plus. Yeah.
I'll join you. Derek. I have positive things to say about both of them too.
Oh, good. Wait. The way you phrased that.
Well, I guess we'll just have to see. You'll have to guess throughout.
Doesn't mean you liked both of them. That means you said positive things to say about both of them.
Right.
I have positive things to say about... Never mind. That was going to be too far.
Yeah. Whatever it was going to be bad. Yeah.
Think of whenever conversation arguments immediately go to 11 and who they invoke. And that's probably, it was going to be, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, he's Derek. I'm Chris. And let's start talking about, nice to meet you. Talking about random shit. I only included this update because I thought it was, what's the phrase? Like a wolf in sheep's clothing? Like this is about the Twitter Elon Musk shit. I know we're a movie video game podcast. This has been kind of a weirdly fascinating saga. However, when I read the title, which is Twitter won't budge in face of Musk's spam bot obsession, says it will enforce the merger agreement. So he offered to buy him for a certain amount of money. Twitter said, okay. Elon tried to back out. Shitty. He said he needed them to be able to prove that there's a number in here somewhere. Gonna find it. He needed to quote. He wanted Twitter to prove that there was only like less than a certain percentage of bots in the user base. I'm still looking for it. Whatever. I'll find it later. And so this basically makes it sound like he's just stalling. But when you dig into it, there have been some crazy estimates that upwards of like 30% of Twitter's user base could be bots, which I 1000% believe. And if it is, Twitter's jacking up their price by not telling the public the truth. Like if we all knew, it would devalue Twitter and therefore make Elon's purchase cheaper. And they're obfuscating this answer and saying they can't provide him the number, which is fucking, there's no way they don't have that kind of granular insight into their user numbers. So it's actually like, sure, he agreed to a price, he should pay it, but he's actually not wrong and pushing back. And I'm not standing up for him because there was just another news article about him exposing his dick to an employee. But in this particular instance, I wanted to just paint the light and say, sure, he's a shithead. But in this, I hate when there's one thing and then everyone dogpiles on everything else without looking into it.
Yeah.
And this is the case of like, he's kind of right, but they're still using it as like a fuck Elon thing. And I just wanted to bring it up, see how you felt about it.
I don't know much about it. I have to be honest. Like I don't know. It's not that this stuff doesn't interest me, but there's only so far that I can get in before I just get really bored. And like a lot of with people with like that amount of money, it almost just feels like they're all just. I feel like games are being played with me. Like, I'm not kidding. I'm not trying to be Alex Jones with a tin hat or something. It's like Bezos and Bill Gates and Musk. It's like people who have unfathomable amounts of money. It's a PR thing for him or something.
Yeah.
I don't dislike Elon Musk. Like, I don't have that thing. I know that's a big thing with people our age. Like, fuck him. I don't have that. I don't especially like him either. I'm just sort of, I don't know, neutral, I guess. But like, when he does shit like this, oh, I'm buying, oh, I'm not, oh, I am. Oh, it just feels like it's just like a grand show to him. And when you have that much money and you never have to worry about anything ever again, that's what you can do. You can just fuck around with like real life things. And then whether you end up buying it or you don't, it almost doesn't matter. He's still worth whatever, 180 billion afterwards. So it's like,
right.
I don't know. I agree with you that there is like an ethical issue with like selling a platform and having those amount of numbers of bots. I don't know where that number came from though. Like who? It's not from Twitter because they're trying to hide those numbers.
Right. So Elon, I found the things I was looking for while you were giving your viewpoint, which is he said he needed Twitter to prove they have less than 5% of their accounts were spam bots. Twitter claims a worldwide audience of like 206 million people. Some estimates out there are that they have around 20% fake users, which is a fucking lot of people. That's 41,200,000 accounts.
Yeah.
If it were 5%, it would still be over 10 million. And that's a 5%. But Twitter claims less than 5. All he was saying was, I need proof that it's less than 5. Yeah. Because, like, imagine... I think this is a good analogy. Imagine you were going to buy a newspaper and you were looking at advertisement streams and you found out that 20% of the reader base was fake. That would be a big fucking deal because they're paying to advertise to people who don't exist.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thrust of it. I'm not saying he's a good guy. Spoiler alert, he's not. But hey, although
on the topic of the other thing though, with the chick, the woman, he said he'd buy her a horse if she sucked his dick or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, can you imagine how insulted would you? Let's just pump the brakes here. All right.
Yeah.
Sexual assault, not okay, of course.
Never okay.
But if I was going to be propositioned by the richest man in the world, and he said, if you suck my dick, I'll give you a horse, I'd be like, are you out of your fucking mind, dude? Give me a Tesla minimum.
Right.
Like at least a Tesla.
Yeah, you got to parlay the horse into something usable.
Fucking, like I could feasibly go out and buy a horse if I really tried. I could do it. So fuck you, Elon.
Yeah, fuck you. I mean, if you're going to at least think about the ramifications, are you going to buy me are you going to buy me the land and the acreage to keep this horse? And the upkeep on him?
Yeah.
Horses aren't cheap.
What's the overhead?
They require food. I'm a flight attendant on your fucking ship, you dickhead. Anyway, how much do you think I make? Anyway.
What's the lowest amount of money that you would suck Elon Musk's dick for?
That's a toughie because I'm a cheap date.
Me too.
Because I could do a lot with like 10K. I could do a lot with 10K.
I think I do like 20K. I think I do it for 20.
Yeah, like send the bar low.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to be good.
Remember when you were a kid and your friends would be like, would you suck a dick for $10 million? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I'd let you come in my beard. I wouldn't wash it for a week. That's $10 million. I never have to worry about anything ever again. Of course I would. Oh my God. I'd put effort into it too. I'd make sure it was the best blowjob of your fucking life for 10 mil. What a stupid question. It's fucking $10 million. That's
going to be the TikTok clip. It's always when we talk about cum for some reason too. I don't know. Maybe that's
where we shine.
Children, baby, you know? Hey, semi-glossy. Man, I don't know why it reminded me of Louis C.K., but you had mentioned you were watching his Sincerely special.
Yeah, oh God,
and I had to go back and find it. I'm watching it again tonight because I don't really remember it. It's been a couple. I bought it when it came out in like 2020. Yeah. And then there's a new one. So I'm excited because I have two of them. Another one. DJ Khaled. Anyway, I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm going to get this over early. You can come check us out. Facebook.com/The Cynical Nerd. On Twitter and TikTok at The Cynical Nerd. Yeah, if you want to tweet at us, it's hashtag AskTCN, ask us a question, hashtag FuckTCN, tell us to go get fucked, I guess, whatever you want to, whatever you want to tell us, you know, tell Derek you don't think his beard's the proper land for coming.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell him that if you want to.
Somewhere else for 20K.
I might, yeah, 20K, you make the rules. So that's what I'm saying.
Money, buddy.
Yeah. Oh shit, I got the giggles today. We're working on I'm starting a new campaign. We're working on getting the Instagram back. So here's where we stand, right? I told you the story already.
Right.
So feel free to tune out. This is just for them.
I'm taking my headset off.
if you'll remember, the Twitter fight took a couple months, and it wasn't a fight. It was more like I had to track down who owned it. They weren't using the account. I finally found an email address for this person through a website that they have that's very similar to ours, but not the same. Not like content wise, just like name wise. Like we have thecynicalnerd.com. They are cynicalnerd.com. Shout out to him. Sure. I think he does reviews on animes and stuff like that. In long form. And I tracked him down, emailed him. Super nice fucking guy. It was totally cool parting with it. After a couple months of trying to do some digging, we got the handle. Everybody put their hands up. We were excited. I remember at the time looking at the Instagram and realizing that it was also him, but not wanting to push for too much at one time.
Yeah.
And then basically I'm old and forgot. And then we were looking back into getting the Instagram account again, realized it was him. Enough time's passed. I sent him another email. It's like, hey man,
nice. Hey, remember me?
Yeah. Because it also looks like that account's dormant. There's no posts on it. There's no followers, no following. It looks like he just snatched him up when he probably made the website and hasn't done much with them. So, and again, no shade. He was a wonderful guy the first time around. Hopefully he is a gentleman the second time. We'll see though.
It remains to be seen.
Yeah, maybe you'll get a 20K pop.
Yeah,
for free.
We'll give you the 20K package for free. Who knows?
20K. That's it though. Moving on to actual news. This is a fun one. I know that Derek and I have no love for Dead by Daylight. And I know I'm going to bring up our good buddy Scoot because he no longer plays it, which I'm not going to say he hates it now. I'm sure he doesn't hate it, but it seems like he at least lost interest in it. I don't want to speak for him. I just know he hasn't been streaming it.
Yeah.
But even when he was in the heyday of playing it every night, streaming it all the time, even he thought the community around Dead by Daylight, DBD, was kind of creepy because it seemed like everyone had a weird hard-on for sexualizing the killers.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to say this other than to just read the title. They're making a dating sim spinoff, and you can try to date and fuck the killers of Dead by Daylight. And I don't even know how to make a joke about that sentence.
Yeah. It did it. It did all the work. Like what stage of like weird what the fuck is going on? This is the most bizarre thing.
I will give them one prop, just one singular prop. The name is a play off of a game mechanic. It's called Hooked on You.
That is
a
really
Dead by
name.
Daylight dating sim. High five to that son of a bitch who came up with the title.
It's almost like so a couple years ago there was a dating sim, like a KFC themed dating sim that was like a marketing ploy or whatever, but it was actually like very well done. I never played it, but I watched like YouTube videos of people playing it. And like they make the criminal look all like hypersexual and he has like his muscles popping out of his shirt. And it's like, all right, that's one thing. It's goofy. It's like it's a fast food chain, but this is like how much worse could this community possibly get, dude? It's just so cringy.
They literally made this because of the fucking thirst in the community.
Yeah.
The director, they were saying they made a joke about it in the room and then they thought it was genius. And they thought it was genius because, and I quote, "We've known for years our fans thirst," he said, thirst himself, "and some of the more intense fanfic that was created."
Oh, no.
They're making games because of your
jerk off material.
Because of all you dirty birds out there. Every single one of you. You fucking slutty magpies, you dirty birds. I don't know, you coming crows. I'm just making up bird related sex jokes. I don't know why you come. What if that was what if they did porn parodies of bands and instead of counting crows it was coming crows and that's all they did.
That's it. That's the only one we could think of. Sorry, Coming Crows.
If I could figure out how to work that into into a thumbnail, I will, but I probably can't. Anyway, I don't know. I don't have anything to say about this besides it's fucking weird.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. It's just very, very strange. What does your mug say?
Just C3.
Oh.
Because I'm not getting PO'd today.
Stay tuned for more jokes like that here on The Cynical Nerd.
I'm so sorry if you haven't already turned it off. Okay, well, let's move on from that. I don't want this anymore.
Yeah, done.
I thought about removing this article from the docket, but I didn't. And here's why I didn't. So the title is Halo co-creator says the Paramount show is not the Halo I made, Marcus Leto. Here's the thing. When I read that title, I thought they meant co-creator of the show. They do not. Marcus Leto is co-creator of the character, which means that statement 1,000% more like, well, yeah, no, duh. You don't think that he's. So I was going to pull it out, and I didn't because he made the character.
Yeah.
So if he's out here going, yeah, I don't. And he did later clarify and said he still liked it, but that it was just not the character that he.
Yeah.
That's just because someone yelled at him.
That was damage control. 100%. It was damage
100%,
control,
yeah.
without a doubt. Yeah. I thought the same thing. His follow-up tweet, just to clarify, all right, your PR agent got on the line.
1,000%.
But it's interesting, when I first saw this, I thought the same thing, the show creator. And I thought, it's so weird when you see actors who are dedicated to films for, contracted to films for however many sequels or however many seasons or whatever. They sign, these things where they're not allowed to criticize the movies. You'll notice as soon as Game of Thrones ended, all those actors came out and were like, okay, the last few seasons were really bad. Same thing with, the sequel trilogy of Star Wars. A lot of those actors, as soon as their contracts ran up, they were like, yeah, I would have done a lot of things differently. But Mark Hamill was outspoken about it the whole time, but he's Mark Hamill. What are you going to do? Fire him?
He just says whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah. But it's interesting with this because it's passed through so many hands. So it was originally created by Bungie, the video game, but even then those rights were sold to 343i. And now this is just its own thing on Paramount. Right. So it's as the person who created the original version, you really are kind of at liberty to just give your thoughts and not get in any kind of legal trouble. I mean, it's not yours anymore. You're not hurting anyone in your company's income by doing so. So I thought it was interesting. I thought it took balls for him to say it too. Even his follow up though was not it wasn't like he was totally no, I love the show, 10 out of 10. He just said he just kind of went no, the show has good things about it. I just don't like the character. Master Chief is just fucking people now, and what's going on?
Master Cheeks.
Mm-hmm. Did we cover that? I can't.
We did last week. We talked about it because we had an article about him having sex, and I was like, dude, they've apparently shown multiple characters' asses in the show.
Yeah. Okay.
I think Paramount's version of edgy is just to show parts. Yeah. Next week, Master Chief does butt stuff. Yeah. Master Cheeks is gonna get a Master Squeaks. I don't know. I'm sorry. I didn't workshop that before. I just blurted it. Anyway, all right, moving on. So there's a game coming out from Warner Brothers. It's a Smash-like multiversus. Is that what it's called? Multiverse. Yeah, it's called Multiverses. Smash-like multiverse game that gets a ton of its different properties together, and we're talking goofy shit like Batman and Shaggy and Bugs Bunny and Harley Quinn and Superman and Wonder Woman and the Iron Giant and some of the fucking Sylvester and Tweety Bird and shit like that. Really random characters. They're just putting a bunch of random properties that they have rights to together, making what looks like a goofy, potentially fun game. I haven't seen a whole lot of actual gameplay, just trailers. Yeah. It could be fun. And this article just rubbed me the fucking wrong way. And I don't know if you agree with me or not. I just put this in here so that I could talk about it, and I made this full screen and I didn't want to. Okay, we're back to regular screen. The thrust of this article is from Kotaku or Kotaku. I don't know how you pronounce it. And normally their articles always have a small veneer of, how should I say this politely?
Cuntiness?
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I don't want, I was like uppity, not really, but
Yeah.
a little bit of like smarmy. That's a
Yeah.
good one. Like, I have the high ground, Anakin, and I know I'm better than you because I'm inclusive.
Yeah,
or
as
something. I
a
don't know.
fellow consumer, I can speak for all of us when I say.
Yeah, and basically the argument is that Warner Brothers got this so wrong because the point of the Iron Giant film was that he was a weapon that was choosing to not be violent and blah blah fucking blah. I saw the Iron Giant when it came out. It's a fantastic film.
Mhm.
It still can make me cry. That is completely detached in my brain, at least, from them taking that character and just tossing him in a mashup fighter game. I have zero fucking problems with it. This article comes off as holier than thou and like hoity-toity, and this is how I feel about Iron Giant, so it's the way you should feel about Iron Giant. And it's fucking stupid. It's really stupid, because if you needed to take all those characters' viewpoints into account, then why is Superman in the fucking game? They're all good characters. None of these characters are villains, besides potentially Harley Quinn. So why is Superman gonna beat the shit out of fucking Bugs Bunny? Like, shut up. Just shut up. It's stupid. I hate you. Bad article.
I feel the exact same way. I never saw the Iron Giant, and that's one of those things that makes people do that. Exactly.
Watch along to watch us cry together.
I actually I know everything that happens. Like, it's been referenced culturally so much that I know exactly how it plays out. Doesn't mean I don't want to see it, but I've never seen it. I just missed it. I don't know. So I fell through the cracks. In any event, yeah, I felt the same way. It's like, at what point? It's a fucking mash 'em up video game with people fighting. They make a point at the end how it's like, oh, all studios are now just like combining all their IPs, and it makes them sort of get lost or lose their own individual character. And I'm like, all right, that I could agree with. If the article was about that and expanded on that, we could talk about that. But the fact that it was so fixated on the fact that, like, Iron Giant's supposed to be a good guy, and now he's doing bad things. Like, all right, look at Super Smash Brothers. What the fuck is Peach doing out there beating anyone's ass? Does she do that in the games? No.
Yeah.
She just gets captured and saved. That's what she does. Like 45 games now. Like, they don't have to keep their fucking personality and like their like arc from their games in a mashup game. Just let it be fun. Like, it's just stupid fun. And if it bothers you that much, like, don't buy it. Don't make us feel like we're a part of some like moral low ground by I don't know, watching the trailer or whatever, because I'm not gonna buy it, but it doesn't look like a good game. I'm just saying that's not my issue with it. It was whiny. It was stupid.
Yeah, it was very stupid. And to be fair, like you said, the intro to the article and really the setup for the entire conversation is Iron Giant and why he shouldn't be used as a gun. It does then pivot, and they do say, like, to the real problem is, and they go on to complain about how Warner Brothers Discovery as a company just owns such a huge chunk of pop culture. But like, and that's fair. Like you said, if the whole article was about that, I just like, I know that I'm not the editor at Kotaku, but like, if I'm the editor, I'm going, why are you focusing on Iron Giant in the beginning of this article and then completely pivoting to the actual point you were trying to make, which is good, but the intro was stupid because it could have been made about like 40% of the characters in this game and you just picked one and acted like it was a fucking war crime. Anyway, the article just pissed me off. And what better reason to put it on the Cynical Nerd to bitch about it than I have too many positive things to say in main topics. I have to be mad about things in week. Yeah, exactly. Sense. How it works. Good news. We all thought this was coming, but now it's basically confirmed. Variety is reporting that the Daredevil Disney Plus series is in the works with Matt Corman and Chris Ord set to write. In case you guys are like, well, Disney Plus didn't say it. Well, if Variety or Hollywood Reporter report it, it's basically gospel. Like those publications don't put this shit out there unless they vetted it 2 and 3 times, because if they're wrong, no one trusts them anymore. Mm-hmm. It's why you have 1,000,001 geekculture.coms, because they just throw shit at a wall and hope that it sticks and then say they got an exclusive. So this is more or less the confirmation, and we expected this to happen. We all, when the rights reverted back to Marvel, we all got excited. And then when he showed up in No Way Home, we got excited. And then of course Kingpin showed up, and we just, the writing was on the wall that they were at least going to put him as a supporting character in future films. And now it looks like he's going to get his own series. The big questions, well, one, I'm very excited about this because the Daredevil show was truly incredible. That show, I loved it. I loved all 3 seasons of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel the same, but I just thought the show was fantastic.
I loved season 1. Season 2 lost me by the end. I did finish it, but that's the reason I never picked up season 3. I've always wanted to go back. Right, because Punisher came in season 2.
Yeah,
it was all that I liked, but it was like all the, I can't remember the name of the like order that they were fighting. All that shit just did not interest me at all.
Yeah, I got you. The hand or whatever.
Yeah.
The Foot Clan. Generic ninjas.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not going to spoil anything about 3. 3, the final confrontation between him and Fisk is one of my favorite Charlie Cox acting moments of all time, and I think I've mentioned it before. After being kicked down and down and down, he's just screaming in his face, and it's so cathartic.
Mm-hmm.
Very great acting. I don't know. It's this might sound insensitive, but I promise I don't mean it that way. There's a thing when an actor is acting as a blind character where they can come off very silly because they will like randomly just look in the wrong direction. You know what I mean? What I mean? Like they're trying to visually represent that they can't see by just not looking at their objective. And maybe I'm just off base, or like I'm the only one that ever fucking noticed or cared about this. But Charlie Cox to me always played Matt Murdock so convincingly.
Yeah.
Because he does do the thing where his eyes aren't focused on his target, but there's something about I don't know how to describe this. There's something about the way he does it that just sells it for me.
Yeah. No, I agree. I feel the same way. It's a hard to define thing. And you can't really say like when you see other non-blind actors playing blind people, like, oh, well, what are they doing wrong? It's kind of hard to quantify, but I understand what you're saying. Like, it's very, he does it very well.
And the reason I think that is because, well, obviously watching him, but there's a particular scene in season 3. I'm not spoiling anything, but he's yelling at Fisk in, you know, the kind of the final moments of the season. And it's close up. It's from the shots, like from the side of Fisk's head. So you're looking up. It's like you basically get like this. You get like him, like Fisk's head is like right here in the corner, and he's screaming at him. But like, there's a moment where he's like not really looking at him, and it conveys very well that he's blind. But I remember watching it and thinking, if he wasn't a good actor, that would have taken me out of it completely. If they had done that wrong, I would have laughed at how goofy it looked. But because he does a great job at it, like, oh, that scene is fucking spine tingling.
Yeah.
I've never been able to come without using my hands, but I feel like that's the closest I have ever come.
Well, it's got to be difficult, like
coming with no hands. Like 100%.
Come with no hands. Yeah. How do you do it? Unless you have like a very tightly wound couch cushion or something. No, it's got to be difficult to like stay in your head while you're acting, while you're remembering your lines, while trying to inflect your lines properly, to remember to sort of like stare. Again, I don't want to sound insensitive now. I see the hurl you're talking about. How to stare forward, but you're not really staring forward. You're just sort of unfocused on everything. And like making sure you maintain sort of that image while doing your gimmick, essentially. I mean, it's got to be, I don't know. Really activates my almonds, if you ask me. You know?
Especially like as an actor, like you're supposed to be delivering lines to this guy who's inches from your face, and I didn't really think about it even from that perspective. But it's going to be so much more difficult to make sure you're like delivering the emotion and delivering the lines, but not focusing on. Anyway, we'll harping too much on it, but the series raises a couple questions. One, are the first 3 seasons going to be canon, or will they be like a loose canon? Because if the first 3 seasons are canon, then does that mean all of the Defenders are canon? Because I hope not all of the Defenders are canon. Or are they just going to have like a soft reboot where he's basically that character, but they kind of like have a fresh series? I'm interested in what the answer is. Part of me really wants those seasons to matter because they did some really cool shit in those seasons. There was a lot of great characters in that season. What was the fucking he was a black man. He was the editor of the paper in like the first season.
It's been so long, I don't remember.
Ben or something. I don't know. He was wonderful. Dude. Yeah. There's so many good actors in that show. But mostly because if Fisk is also back and they keep those seasons, then we already have this built up relationship between them, and that would be great the next time we see them again. I mean, that's what you want. You want these That's what having these drawn out superhero shows does so well for the characters, because they essentially get a fucking 12-hour movie.
Yeah.
To you, by the end of it, you're invested in everybody. You understand why Fisk does what he does, but also why he's kind of fucked up and has all these internal issues, and that history is just so rich. So I hope some of that comes around. But
I just hope that the tone remains the same. That's always the same. The same concern I have. You know, we've talked about Deadpool, Disney acquiring that. It's like when Daredevil came out, I think what drew people in was it was all word of mouth for that. Like everybody I know was like just knew somebody who said it was really good. And it's not like it's gory. It's not like it's adult or anything like that. But it's very dark. It was the first Marvel thing to have this like gritty, kind of ugly, grimy under. Yeah, and it does it so well.
It was so good.
And you see the sort of flip side, the sort of, he's a lawyer, he's like an Ivy League, he's like a smart guy, you know, when he's in his, not in his persona. And then like when he dons the, in season 1, the blindfold is pretty much what his costume amounts to. You really see some dark shit. Like it's very tonally different from the MCU. So I'm hoping now that it's Disney, they don't like, okay, we'll bring that character into how we like to do things. I hope they go, well, that formula clearly worked. People loved it.
Yeah.
It sparked off like 4 other shows about the Defenders. So hopefully, you know, they see that formula worked and just stick to it.
Yeah, I agree. I also am curious. It makes me excited because I've not historically been a huge Marvel comics reader. I've always read DC comics, but the few that I have revolved around team ups. And it's like Spider-Man and Daredevil have teamed up several times, and it's very fun. Spider-Man and Deadpool and Daredevil. Like these are guys who just, I don't know, they do really good when they're bouncing off of somebody. And I think that's true of Daredevil. And it's something we haven't really seen. I mean, he did the Defenders, but they were all, you know, let's be real, C and D list characters. And I mean, Daredevil is not considered like the A list of Marvel, but he's very well known. He's been around for a long time. He's had very good comic runs. Like Frank Miller wrote a couple Daredevil lines. He's had some wonderful storylines told.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you know, I mean, shit. Like, I think at one point Fisk literally got Karen Page like addicted to heroin to like lure her in and reveal his identity to her.
Right.
Like crazy shit like that. And it was you know, anyway, I'm glad he's back. Let's see what they do with it. Cautiously optimistic that they don't fuck that up somehow. But Charlie Cox is a great dude. He deserves to come back and be Daredevil. He's a good actor. I hope they fix the one pet peeve I have about the Daredevil costume in the Netflix show. And the whole thing
sucked.
Well,
I was literally, it looked really bad. I was
getting to the whole thing isn't that great. But the one pet peeve I have is they cover his nose like a Batman cowl,
right? And
that's never done in the comic books, and I hate it. He's always had like a bridge thing where you can see part of it, and for some reason it just fits the costume better. And I've seen people do like mock-ups with him where you can see part of his nose, and I would just please do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sculpt of the helmet was fine, but I hated that they covered his nose up.
I always loved his just vigilante costume more. I just feel like something I was going to get into later was that I feel like character design. Recently, I'm coming across it like character design does not need to be complex to be very good, and simple can be significantly better sometimes.
Yeah,
and I feel like that was the case there. He's literally just wearing a blindfold and like some black sort of fleece clothing. I don't know, but he looks awesome. Like he looks imposing and terrifying. And then like I think it's at the end of season 1 he gets his legit costume, right? And I was just like, like
now there is something really cool about the. No, you're right. I mean, it's one of the reasons I wasn't mad that like they didn't have that costume all season, because there's like. It so clearly conveys that this guy is either A, he's so good at kicking ass that he doesn't need to see, or B, there's some otherworldly shit going on, because it's literally just, look, I can beat your ass with my arm tied behind my back with a blindfold on. You know what I mean? It's like, I just looked it up. Like it looks so fucking good.
I don't know. I'm looking at his Daredevil costume though. It doesn't look as bad as I remembered. I may have blown that up in my memory a little bit.
That's okay. It's okay.
Thank you. That sometimes
Yeah.
forgiveness really is the best gift you can give, huh?
Forgiveness. It's more than saying sorry. Anyway, that was a very obscure movie reference. Next article
Just
should
Friends,
get.
wonderful movie.
Oh, look
Yeah.
at you! I always get excited. People get random.
To forgive
movie
is
references.
divine.
Yeah. So let's have a glass of wine. This next article I put in here just for Derek, just to get his balls titillating.
Yeah.
Norman Reedus has a big mouth, and because he's only involved in 2 properties,
Big mouth, tiny eyes, tiny squinty eyes.
big mouth, tiny eyes, possum rat beard, and I don't know. He just looks like the human. He's like a human possum, right? Like he looks like he belongs in a dumpster. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's all.
He's
that's
like
all
the
I got.
dirtiest rich person other than Mila Jovovich.
That's what it is. Like even though I'm sure he's got plenty of money because of all the Walking Dead and video game tie and shit.
Yeah.
I feel like he lives in a trailer.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
like the trailer he goes in for Walking Dead. He pretends to leave every night and then sneaks back in and sleeps in it.
Right. All right. Good night, everybody. And then just tiptoes backwards.
Sorry, Norman Reedus. You look greasy all the time, dude. I
Yeah.
don't know. Take a shower.
Yeah.
Do
Some
something.
wet
Shave
wipes, something. I don't know.
Shave the shit off your face.
Yeah.
It looks gross. Doesn't work for you. And that's coming from somebody who's got patchy facial hair. Like it looks worse on you. I don't know what it is. It does fit the leather biker jacket though, so you know, do what you gotta do. But anyway, because he's only involved in like everything Walking Dead and Death Stranding, that's it. He can't help but talking about it, and he let the beans spill in a conversation and seemingly acknowledged that there's a Death Stranding 2, and then not only that, but that it's in the works actively, like production has just started on that. There was a response to this by Hideo Kojima recently, who shared like pictures of him with Norman and said something about like go to your what's the room he rests in. He's like go to your
Oh, I don't know.
He fucking named for it. Your
pod
prep room or pod room or some shit. He basically said that in a tweet, and like, so everyone's like, oh, maybe he's right. I don't know. I never finished Death Stranding, and I kind of feel like I have to, even if I don't want to.
I feel like I made you a deal that if you play through it if you play through it in its entirety, and you did not cry at the end, that I would refund you for the money you spent on it and buy you a video game of equal value.
I don't remember this deal.
Mm-hmm.
Deal.
If you play
next
through
thing
the
I'm
end
playing.
of it,
I'm gonna play tonight.
and you don't cry at the end of it, I will refund you the money you spent on it and get you however much you spent on it, a new game for that amount.
Here's the thing. I feel like I have to restart it
Probably.
because I put like 20 hours in or something.
Here's my with Death Stranding. It's always a game that I've said in a joking way. It's a game that I love that I don't feel right endorsing. And the most recent one, I discovered another one, and that's that Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise game. That game, Stranger of Paradise, I still feel the same way. I loved it. I thought it was a blast. I could not in good conscience tell anyone to spend their money on it until it's like $15. I'm taking it back on Death Stranding. Like I've been thinking about it.
I'm taking it back
because really, I feel like, all right, we were just talking about in Rat Chat earlier today. It's a cutscene heavy game, extremely cutscene heavy. And so like as I get older, I hate cutscenes. I hate to play a video game. I think that's what turned me off about The Last of Us 2. It's like you play and you're, doing the shit, and then you get to the place and there's just this like 7-minute cutscene of people just talking and walking in circles. I'm like, I'm not playing a game right now. I'm watching a movie. Like I want to play. It's a game. It's supposed to be a game. So I'm contradicting myself by saying endorsing Death Stranding when it's a way more grievous offender. But it's just, everybody is sort of is
it a general grievous offender? Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm getting hyped. Obi-Wan's this fucking week, bro.
It is. I know. I'm excited. Everything is sort of like gamers in general are moving to this place. We're seeing games like Call of Duty and Battlefield and Halo get these lower and lower ratings, and more obscure games are getting higher and higher ratings. And I think that people are tired of the same old formula. I'm not saying just because Death Stranding is different, you have to think it's good. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying if you look at it and you just take the memes and say, well, it's just a walking simulator, and you don't even give yourself a chance to like play it, which is cheap now, by the way. If you don't give yourself a chance to just play it and find out for yourself and see that there's not just like high intense octane action immediately and you go, this is a bad game. You're kind of a part of the problem, because when you have a AAA studio that's doing something different and it's going against the grain a little bit, and you're just immediately going, well, I'm not used to this, then you're just allowing these shitty half-released Battlefield 2042s and Halo Infinites to keep coming out because those make way more money. I do endorse this game. I think it's a great game. I think it has a convoluted story, but every Kojima game has a convoluted story. But it has extremely touching moments in it. I mean, stuff that, like, it's not in my top 10 favorite video games of all time, but I think that there are things that happen in that game that are in my top 10, like, memories of video games, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, that deal is still on the table, 100%. Okay. It doesn't work if you're dishonest. If you cry and they go, nah, man, I didn't, you got to buy me something. It's just not fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's not me.
I don't think you would ever do that.
Okay,
no.
Thank you. I was like, I hope you've known me long enough to know that I wouldn't do that. Yeah, 100%. Since you denied my advances for Evil Dead tonight, I will probably start it tonight. This is a total tangent off the conversation we were just having. I'm in a weird what to watch rut because I'm up to the beginning of season 5 for Better Call Saul, but I don't want to finish it because season 6 is not going to wrap up until like July.
Yeah. And
I want to like bash my viewing right up to the end so I can just watch all of it all the way through. But I want to watch it. Like I told you earlier, you're about to finish season 3. Season 4 so far.
I didn't realize it was the finale.
You finished. Yeah. Okay. Six.
It's pretty dark.
Yeah. Season 4 is my favorite so far. But,
okay.
I'm not saying like I loved the show so far, and I think it's just because season 4 is where things have gotten so complex that you can really do story strides without setting them up. You know what I mean? Like I'm hard to describe without.
No, I actually know exactly what you mean, because that's why season 3 is actually even though towards the end it found its footing, it's my least favorite because it was all set up. It was all just like putting pieces into place, and it's kind of like season 1 and 2 we burned through, and then season 3 took us a while to get through because it was just like man, like we get
season
it.
4 comes everywhere, and I love it.
Well, then I'm very excited to get. Well, like I said, 3 got great toward the last 2 episodes. Were like holy shit, like nail biter.
Yeah.
Good. So I'm excited to see. I'm excited to start season 4.
Was season 3 where Jimmy got to dress down Chuck in the hearing?
Yes.
It must have had. Yeah. Oh, that was such a fun moment.
Great episode.
Oh my God.
That one was towards the beginning, and that was a particularly good one. Yeah. And then basically it ends on the note of Chuck suing HHM, and then as far as I know, killing himself by setting his house on fire intentionally. You know what's so great about this show? This isn't even in the document. Let's just talk about it. You know what's so good about this show? This was a
tangent off of a tangent. Yeah. Let's do it. I'm fucking ready.
It's that nobody in this show is truly good or bad. That's what I fucking love about it. Maybe I already said this on the show before.
It's so great.
But even the guy Howard, who in the beginning, the first couple scenes, you're like, oh, this is some rich, uptight,
he seems like a cunt.
Fucking tight butthole, like asshole. And then now 3 seasons in, I'm like, this dude has never done anything dishonest in this entire show. All the shitty people, Chuck does stuff, he goes behind people's back, Jimmy, obviously. He's the only one, like, he's an ass, like, but he's even upfront and honest about being an ass. Like, he's never duplicitous. He's very, like, for being like a lawyer who, they have like the negative outlook that they're all liars or whatever. It's like he's an extremely honest, extremely straight shooting dude. Like, I love him. He's like he's this side character, and every time he's on screen, I'm like, he just does the thing that makes the most sense. He's so logical. Nacho, you see, like, we're introduced to him as like a gangster in season 1. You think he's just this like deadbeat loser. Turns out he's like trying to protect his dad. Like, dude,
from Hector.
It's just so fucking, every character is so good.
It's great.
And so like, the one thing Veronica and I pointed out is that the show so far, I'm only halfway through. So far, the show in general, like the actual, like overall sort of like vector of the show, I think is better than Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad had better peaks, moments that made you go like, oh my God. But like the overall show, I actually think I like it better than Breaking Bad so far.
I would agree with that. And I have come to just appreciate every season. So I know you said like 3 felt like a lot of setup and therefore it was least favorite. I feel like this show's just gotten better and better and better. I loved 1. 2 was pretty good. 3, I'm like, all right, getting better. We're getting better. Like I said, 4 so far. I haven't watched 5 yet, but 4 so far is like it's firing on all cylinders, and I can't wait for you to watch it because it's I'm like excited. It starts incredibly strong and it finishes incredibly strong, and I fucking
love a strong finish.
I can't wait for you to get to the end of 4, dude. I can't
wait to finish.
Wait for you to finish all over.
I
that
don't have
beard.
your self-control, and I will watch all the way through season 5, and then just wait for season 6 like an asshole.
So to get out of our tangent conversation that was off of my tangent conversation, I've been like in this thing where I sit down on my computer at the end of the night. And before was building the Falcon, which I think I've mentioned is finished. I'm just waiting for the stand to come in Wednesday. And I would just toss on Better Call Saul, and I knew what my night was going to be. Done.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I have a season left. I don't know if I want to catch up. I'm almost done season 3 of Ash vs. the Evil Dead. I just don't want that to end. Yeah. But I'm almost at the end of that. It's super fucking fun. And I'm just like, there's little things here and there I want to watch. I'm gonna punish myself and watch Morbius.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna watch it for next week.
Yeah.
I don't know. We have a lot to watch for next week. We got Stranger Things Obi-Wan coming out. There's 2 Obi-Wan episodes.
Oh, true.
Obviously,
true,
Stranger Things drops in a block. I don't expect us to get through all of that, but maybe just the first 2, which is like if they're all an hour, that's 4 hours of shit to watch already. So maybe not next week. We'll bash our heads against Jared Leto.
I feel like
eventually.
It's safe to put Morbius on the back burner. For
we're all on the same page here, right? Like no one on the internet liked it. Critics didn't like it. We all know.
I think Jared Leto liked it. He thought it was a great movie. But
what are you talking about? I did great in this film. Anyway, we'll move on. I'm gonna finish Ash vs. the Evil Dead tonight while I'm playing Death Stranding in the beginning. As a refresher, it's great. I don't have to pay attention that strictly. I just need to get the gameplay back on track and the beats covered back in my head for the story. And then I'm going to switch back to Better Call Saul. You talked me into it. I really missed that show. It's been like a week since I watched anything, and I want to fucking see it.
Dip it in. Just stick it in.
Dip it in. All right, one more article, very quick, and then we're going to get into our trailers. So this is just a weird one. The only reason I even mentioned this is because we have a TikTok now. You can follow us at the Cynical Nerd.
We're party of you now.
I read this and I went, huh? Oh, okay. So TikTok's going to add games to the application. They've already started. And as I read through this article, we don't need to cover much of this. It's more like a, hey, did you know? TikTok, obviously, all these youngsters know it already, but we don't because we're old. It's like where everybody is right now, and this is already a thing in China and I think like India, like Southeast Asia countries. They already have gaming in the app. They really want you to like live in that fucking app. Like you go in there to pass the time to watch TikToks. You go in there to pass the time to play games. They're going to take over the world was the point of this conversation. And I hope they wrangle it from Zuckerberg's dead fingers because, and what I'm saying is I have to kill him.
Yeah. First I have to kill him for the fingers to be dead.
Yeah. From his cold dead hands. You have to kill him, then leave it until it chills down.
Yeah, come back later. No rush. You already did it. He's gone.
Sorry, they get dark. There's not really anything to talk about. Like, we don't talk about social media apps on this podcast, but like, I just thought it was good for them. I don't know. Fucking.
Is there any way those games won't suck though? Like, is there any universe in which they will not suck? I feel like they're going to be pretty dumb, but I don't know. Maybe I'll be wrong.
Is it late enough in the day that I can turn my light on and not blast myself with? Well, it's not bad.
No,
okay,
it's not.
I'll leave it on. We started early, like I said, so I wasn't sure who hell my white balance gonna look like. I don't know. I got hot dog fingers. Anyway, we'll get to that later. All right, first trailer on the list. She-Hulk Attorney at Law. So, but right off the bat, before we talk about this, there's been a lot of controversy. Not controversy. A lot of people complaining about the CGI in this trailer. I'm one of them. It looks bad. In some of the scenes, it's very, very poor. I will, however, not hold that against the series until we've seen it because it's a trailer and the show doesn't come out for a little bit. And these things are always being iterated on. There's people who do visual effects. For Christ's sake, they made tweaks to Spider-Man No Way Home between the theatrical and DVD release to improve visuals in the final fight scene. And they were not small. Like there's a comparison shot of Tobey Maguire's suit and where it looks just generically red and blue in the theatrical cut, they gave it like the pattern and shit underneath. It looks perfect. So I as far as that goes, I'll give them the benefit. Plus they're building a whole new character. So Hulk is in this trailer and he looks just as good as Hulk did in Endgame. He looks pretty good. He's got Ruffalo's, whether or not you like Ruffalo,
I don't.
Appearance, just like you did in Endgame. CGI looks great on him, but that's because they already had the assets. They just pull him in. They're designing her from scratch. Tatiana Maslany is a wonderful actor, and B, she's a very beautiful woman. And I'm not like trying to defend the trailer. It was just okay for me. I'm not gonna it didn't blow the top off. It will probably give me a mommy dommy She-Hulk fetish.
Yeah. Especially when she's carrying away that guy at the end. I was like, oh
dude.
I was so off board for the whole trailer, and then I saw that I was like, well, I'll check it out. I'll show up.
No, you didn't say that. Your penis did.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know if I like this. Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm on board for we'll watch 2 episodes. I wish I could put that in a thumbnail without getting us fucking in trouble for it. So apparently this is going to be like a case of the week type show, which could be cooler. It could be dumb. The jury's out. I don't know. The trailer is okay.
The jury's out. That was nice.
So,
I don't even think you meant to do it.
I didn't, but holy shit.
That was pretty good.
Oh my, I'm never going to recover from that. Yeah. But no, so She-Hulk is always, in the comics, fought against the sexualization of, satirically fought against the sexualization of females in comics. And it looks like they're embracing her sexuality in the show. And I applaud them for doing it. I mean, girls have sex too. Like, women want to have sex. Like, it's like, you don't have to act like every woman on TV is a goody two-shoes who doesn't know what that word is. So there's a couple scenes in here
where
you
heard it here first. Women like to get their pussies fucked. we know they do. We're very progressive here, and women like to get their pussies fucked real deep into. That's our mission statement here at the Cynical Nerd.
Some men like to get their pussies fucked in real deep. We don't, whatever you want from life and dicks.
I just got a drop in from Veronica with this face.
What are you talking about? Dairy show? Does she call you that?
I mean, she does. Like Aaron said, we have a kid to prove it. She's into that too.
Hey. Yeah. Okay. Episode 68. Women love sex is the title. I'm trying to phrase that in a way. It's like Derek and Chris say, women love sex. They're really pound home. Pun intended.
Yeah.
That we are speaking for you. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Anyway,
on behalf of you, really. Don't worry, we've got it.
Yeah. Don't worry, ladies. Pipe down. Go back to the. Never mind.
Oh boy, we found the line. We found the line. Next
joking about
Next
misogyny.
thing.
That's fun. No, but there's a couple scenes here where she's surrounded by other women, and they're like, "Girl, your ass looks incredible." And by the way, it does.
It does.
And yeah, sure, cool. Like, I hope they lean into that. It would be something. I doubt they're going to lean very far into it because it's Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But if they do, good for them. I mean, hey, this might be a litmus test for what to expect from future projects as far as like how far will they let Deadpool go? How far will Daredevil keep its gritty tone?
Yeah.
Or it could just be a bag of shit and Mark Ruffalo's attached to it.
I think
jury's out.
I think that's what it is. I think it's the last one you said. Yeah. I want to be wrong. I want it to be like, I remember when this was announced, we had talked about it on the show, and I had said that it would be great if it was, you said that some of the comics are like satirical. If they did like an almost Harvey Birdman attorney at law type thing, with like within the MCU, I feel like that could be incredible. Like that you get cameos from like the mainstay characters, for like one episode or whatever, like, oh, Thor's hammer went through a person's car or something. I don't know, like just stupid shit like that could be funny. I don't anticipate that though. Like I had kind of been holding on to that hope for this whole time, and then seeing this trailer, I was like, that's not what it's going to be. I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. It looks like here's the thing though. At the end of the day, what I always talk about is that there needs to be more deviation from the formula, and this certainly looks like it is. So I'm like, well, I've got to give it a shot, right? I mean, otherwise I'm just a hypocrite. I mean, either way, I'm a hypocrite. I'm proud of that, actually. It's weird because I have a toxic personality. No, of course, 2-episode rule. That's what we do around here, folks. Everybody gets 2.
Everybody gets to.
But I wasn't impressed by the trailer. It looked kind of corny, but we'll see.
I was trying to find like if we could put up like a mommy dommy like picture of us like thirsting over She-Hulk, but don't Google dominatrix She-Hulk because you'll get a lot of explicit results and it might make your pee-pee hard.
Just do Madam Milkers from Resident Evil 8 with She-Hulk's head on top of her. Boom. Done.
Okay.
Send me an invoice. I mean, I'll send you an invoice. Forget it.
Yeah,
don't think about
that. All right. Next up in the trailer list, I think you hate this show. I'm pretty sure. But there's a trailer for season 3 of The Umbrella Academy coming out. This show will be dropping shortly on Netflix. I think the 3rd season got delayed a bit because of the pandemic, but this is going to be coming out in about a month, I think, June 22nd. Did you watch season 2? I think you don't like this show, right?
You're wrong. I don't dislike this show. I don't especially like it. Season 1 had this quality where like every time I'd get watch an episode, there would be stuff going that I'm like, this isn't for me. Like, this isn't really my thing. And then, like, by the end of the episode, like, something would just be just enough to make me go, I should watch one more. And then, like...
They're edging you.
Exactly. It's an edging show. And then, same thing. That next episode, I'd be like, 15 minutes in, not for me. And then just something would occur throughout. Again, by the end, I'm like, I got to give it one more. And next thing I know, I watched the whole season. I have intended on watching season 2 since it dropped. I've just never gotten around to it. So I don't know, like maybe by the time season 2 comes around, I'll decide one way or the other,
Here we go.
Do or don't like it. But
so episode 68, The Edging Academy, and the image will be Mommy Dom She-Hulk.
Oh, beautiful. Got it.
Yeah, they work together in synergy.
Shing.
Didn't even mean to. That was my penis coming out, not a sword from a sheath. So I don't want to talk too much about season 2 then, because I don't want to spoil things.
Yeah.
And the season 3 trailer, if you watched it, may have spoiled certain elements.
That's okay though.
There's some alternate universe stuff going on here, and I liked season 2 a lot. I think I liked season 2 better than I liked season 1 ultimately.
That's what a lot of people said.
And it looks like I think I remember reading this before season 3 came out. So when Elliot Page transitioned, there was conversation about like the show had already been announced for season 3, like and there was an article that said like they were going to work the transition into the show.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're doing that. We see Elliot Page here. We also see, I don't know how you say this without insulting someone. We see previous versions.
Yeah.
Before Elliot.
Like pre-transition.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. That's probably the proper way to say it. I feel awkward
past tense pronouns are a weird topic. I have no idea how to approach that. But
before he was he. I don't know how to put that without sounding offensive. But you know what I'm trying to come across. They show earlier season versions of Elliot Page. And there's a lot going on here. I feel like this trailer had the tone of the show, but it also had the tone of the show turned up to like 10. So the trailer at least gives off the idea that the show could very easily run off the rails by sucking its own dick too much this season. We'll see. I won't know till I watch it, but the trailer was enjoyable. It just felt like you might be feeling yourselves a little too much here. I can't. It's hard for me to tell if you're,
I think the show puts fun before anything else, which is sometimes a recipe for success. And other times, exactly. It's just kind of like, all right, but there's got to be something stringing this all together that gives me a reason to keep coming back other than just like, oh, the goofy people are doing goofy shit again. I don't know. But no, you know what? I'll tell you this. I'm going to get started on season 2 post haste.
We have been just crushing through content lately, just on a personal level, just watching all the things.
That's right.
I'm down for it.
I mean, I'm fat. That's not like I'm, that cuts into my jogging time. Can't do it. Sorry. No, load me up.
Yeah, fuck jogging. Although I did basically start back on my diet. I because of the dinner yesterday, I had to take a break. But I am full in. I'm meals are prepped for the week already. I'm ready to go.
Sexy.
Go drop down to 200 is my goal by this winter, which should be easily accomplishable as long as I get back on the train now and don't fall off very quickly. Anyway, we're talking about that. Next trailer is Evil. It's a Paramount Plus original. I put it on here because I've heard about the show before and didn't really give it any time of day. Horror shows typically start out strong and get shitty really quickly because it's hard to, you either exhaust your audience because the tension is constantly at 12, or you see behind the curtain too early and nothing is scary anymore.
Yeah. And
you just wait for like American Horror Show, they would throw so many nonsensical things at you that you just expect it at a certain point, and then you're like, they'll wrap this together at some point, and then you're just like, okay, so like it's like a checkbox show. You're like, cool, throw Lady Gaga in here along with how are they walking through the walls, and like it was just like aliens, and you're like, all right, fuck it, put everything in the pot and cook it, and let me know what comes out the other side.
That show is fucking absurd, dude. That show is so over the top.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But so anyway, back to this show. This is the another season of Evil. I think it's season 2?
It sounds like because in the I figured it was like the initial announcement of the show, but towards the end it said new season. So I imagine.
Yeah, I think it's season 2. And I think I'm sorry, I should have did some fucking research here. I think his name was Mike Coulter. It's the guy that played Luke Cage.
Yeah.
And I liked him as an actor, and I felt like that role didn't give him a ton to do because Luke Cage is kind of a one-note character.
Yeah.
And this trailer kind of interested me. I don't know if I'm just in the mood for a horror show. I get that way sometimes. I'm not a huge horror buff, but every once in a while I want to really watch something. But it looked kind of cool, and I put it here to see if you also thought it looked kind of cool.
So at a minimum, like, all right, so let me start with the negatives. They show a couple creatures in this that I'm like, yuck. Like, why would you not make that design a little more hidden? Because when you can see the whole thing, it's not scary. It just looks goofy. The whole show, though, looks stylized in a way that does look kind of interesting, I have to say. Like, it's hard to describe. You know how, like, Cabin in the Woods had this weird, like, there was a lot of spread in its design. Like, they had the creepy in the woods, like Evil Dead type shit. But then they were in this, like, you know, hermetically sealed fucking office. And then there was some weird, like, elder god shit towards the end. But none of it felt like all mashed together. There was this weird common thread between the whole thing. Like, I'm kind of getting that same vibe from this, where it's like, you have like classic sort of demonic horror shit going on, but then like more techie stuff that looks like happening at the same time. Yeah. And it doesn't look like a bunch of shit they just jambled around in a bag and then dumped out on a table. It looks like there's an actual consistent like tone throughout it. I'm having a hard time explaining this, but it's interesting enough. The one huge wall to overcome here is that it's on Paramount Plus. That is a massive wall.
I was going to get to
vault
that.
yourself over. Hey, Sadie.
Oh, hey, Sadie. You saw her before I did. I couldn't hear her. What's the matter?
Can I tell you a funny story about my dog? It's very quick.
Oh, sure.
So we made slow cooker pork today, and we just put a couple different types of soup in there, just keep things nice and juicy, nice and just moisturized. When you pull it out, it all falls apart. Put it over some rice. Beautiful. Well, we put it in the pot and we couldn't find the lid. So what do you do? No. You go around and start searching for the lid. And then I hear Einstein taking a drink of his water, and I just think nothing of it because he's just must be thirsty. Well, we still haven't gotten a counter for all of our appliances, and he was not drinking the water. He was drinking the soupy pork mixture out of the slow cooker.
Good man, he knew where to go.
Right in front of us. Like, normally he waits till we're, like, out of the room to eat our shit. Yeah. No, right in front of us. He's like, I'm fucking almost 9 years old. I don't have that much time left. I'm doing what I want.
Uncooked pork. Uh-oh.
No, dogs can handle uncooked shit. That's
true.
Their stomachs are, like, made to eat raw meat, so he's fine. I think it was mostly the soup that he was licking up to, though. But, you know, we're still cooking it. We're still going to eat it.
Fuck it.
We kind of scraped a little bit off the top, and then just like, we're like, fuck it. This is an expensive meal. We're not throwing it out.
Yeah, you're cooking all the fucking germs away right now. I would totally still eat.
All the dog germs are screaming as they're burning alive right now.
I don't remember if I ever even said the first part on the podcast, but Sadie is cancer-free.
Oh, yeah. You told me. You didn't say it on the podcast. Yeah.
I don't even know if I mentioned her needing surgery on the podcast, but they found a little lump on her back. They call it the hock. It's like basically like her knee, where, like, you know, their back legs like inverted. But there's a lump right on top of, like, I showed you the picture of, like, the joint. They wanted to remove it because it was in a weird spot. They don't usually get fatty tumors right there. Plus, if it got bigger, it'd be awkward to remove.
Yeah.
So we removed it, had it biopsied, and it was actually just a weirdly placed fatty tumor. So
yeah,
she's all good.
Excellent.
All gooch.
Doesn't it suck though, now that like before, I feel like before you have a kid and something really goes wrong with the dog, you just get the dog put down. But now you can't put the kid through that. So you got to spend all the money to get them all right.
That's not why we did it. So Samantha and I had a very, like, I was driving home one day.
Oh, I didn't mean in the, no, hang on. I didn't mean in this kid. Oh, no. Oh, she has a lump. Just put her down. I'm just saying, like, if something goes wrong when they're older, you kind of just go like, all right, well, maybe it's time. But when you have a kid, you have to, like, consider that kind of shit and put money into it. No, I'm not saying Sadie had a cough when she was 4 years old and you would have put her down or something if you didn't have Grace.
No. I didn't think you meant that. No, but I mean, we did have to have a conversation. She's 8. Pitbull lifespans can vary drastically, but, you know, they start around 10 years old and don't go crazy higher than like 13, 14 usually. But anyway, so we did have to have a conversation about it. I was like, look, if it comes back and it's cancerous, would we put money into treatment? Because I make decent money, but we need to move.
Yeah.
And I have to think about, like, the rest of the family, and she's 8. And if we did get her treated, what are the chances that it would come back right away? And, like, that shit is very expensive. Yeah. And we talked about it, like, basically said we were willing to pay to get this removed and to get a biopsy. And if it was cancerous, then just make her comfortable. Like, we couldn't afford the treatment. So luckily it was not cancer.
Yeah.
And hopefully we get many more years with that old girl. She's adorable. I love her very much. So is the energy of a fucking puppy too. Like, I had to like hold her down like 3 days after the surgery because she like still had like stitches and was bolting around the house. Yeah. And I'm like, you're gonna rip your fucking stitches open. Chill the fuck out. Anyway,
she has goldfish memory too. I'll come to your house and she'll bark at me for 20 minutes. And then, like, I'll pet her, and she'll literally lay down in front of me, and I'll pet her, and then, like, she'll just turn around and then just start barking at me again. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm the same. We did this. We went through this. She's had a weird thing with men specifically. She's way more willing to accept a new. And I'm so fucking manly. So she really barks around there. She's like,
she smells your testosterone walking up the fucking.
It's the chest hairs that fall out the bottom of my shirt. She's like, this motherfucker right here. I gotta bark. I gotta really pull it out for this one.
Yeah. All right. Back to fucking silly trailers and video games. Baymax is the last trailer we have. Big Hero 6 summoned Big Hero Cries for me. That's a very touching film. It's got a very touching ending, very touching beginning. Shit, it's a good movie.
There's a lot of touching going on.
Well, I'm okay. Todd McTushins is a featured guest star of this. This trailer, they're making a show about Baymax, and it's like the writer basically said, I'm going to have Baymax interact with normal people and try to solve their problems.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I'm going to love the show. The trailer's charming enough. It's fun, but it's like, there's like a 5-minute section of the film that's basically this, and it's just going to be that for a series. And I don't know if I'm ready to watch a show that's probably light on action, high on charming slapstick and emotions. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that could be cool for like an episode, and then episode 2, I'm like, I can't watch this because you've already taken my emotional bandwidth from me in the first one. You know what I mean? Like, either way, it looks well shot. Obviously, Hero himself is coming back.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I want to watch it. I just don't know how I'm going to like it.
I don't know either, but I loved the first one I love the movie so much that I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. I feel like it doesn't matter. You watch the first one and that is an intensely emotional movie. Yeah. I happen to have watched that like 2 years after my older sibling died, so I just had more of a like. I remember being over at Peebo's house, and his daughter, who was only like 2 or 3 years old at that point, was like, "Oh, Uncle Derek, let's watch this movie, Big Hero 6." I'm like, "Whatever, put the fucking movie on. Who gives a shit?"
Send it, little girl.
And
Let's go.
send it, fucking send it. And then like half an hour in, she gets bored of it and she's playing with me, and I'm like, "Listen, motherfucker, you wanted to watch this movie. We're watching the fucking movie." I was so invested in it by that point. No, I agree with you though. Like, so there's an aspect of it that was resolved in that movie that makes me think, well, is my emotional attachment to the franchise now, like, is that resolved because he's gotten over his brother's death and the whole night? Like, is that, so is like what really brought me into that movie? Am I closed off from it now? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I loved it so much that I have to give this a try. There were some funny skits in this trailer too. The end, actually, when Baymax is going downstairs, he's like staring at her as he's going down the stairs, like, "Don't worry, everything will be fine." Have me like gut laugh out loud. So I don't know, you know, it could be good. I agree though, like, and removing, clearly it looks like they took like the superhero aspect out of it. Like they don't have the suits in it or anything like that. Seems like none of the rest of the team are in it at all. I mean, they're not in the trailer anyway. But again, I just owe it that much. It had such a profound impact on me, the movie, that I kind of have to give it a shot.
Yeah, it definitely deserves a watch for sure. I'm just not sure. I hope I come out the other end of it and I really enjoy it, but hard to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving right along. We're main topic time. MTT. I'm going to talk about Chip and Dale first because I'd rather spend.
Sure.
I'd rather be able to spend as much time as I want on the other one. Chip and Dale was fun and charming and surprisingly adorable, and there's some amazing cameos. The whole film is kind of like poking fun at the industry, but it's like a spiritual sequel to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, who also showed up in this film.
Cameo.
I thought the plot was fairly clever. Like one of the team members from Rescue Rangers is in trouble, Monty, who's voiced perfectly. First off, the movie, I'm like, oh shit, Monty was an addict. The whole Rescue Rangers show, like, he really had a fucking cheese problem. But he basically gets in trouble with this gang. It doesn't matter; those things are inconsequential. But the thrust of it is what they'll do to people who owe them money. These tunes is they'll fuck with their appearance and turn them into like knockoffs of themselves and ship them overseas to make the knockoffs we get. And I just found that clever as a plot device.
It was also a little dark, right? Wasn't that
very
sort
dark.
of an allegory for like sexual
Flounder.
slavery? Just a little bit. Like those are the vibes that I got. Like, oh, you're running low on your payments. We're going to abduct you.
Yeah.
We're going to make you look how we want you to. Put you in a fucking box and send you overseas. I was like, Jesus Christ. That is on the nose. My God.
Flounder got fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. No, I really liked this. We had read reviews about this, and they were coming out really positive, and I propositioned Derek for more than coming in his beard for $20K.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, you want to watch it? He was like, sure. So, I didn't expect a whole lot, but I knew that other people thought it was good. I had a good time with it. I thought John Mulaney and Andy Samberg were great for the voices. There was enough nostalgic love for the Rescue Rangers TV show, which I remember watching fondly. I just liked it. I don't know what else to say about it.
It is kind of hard. It's funny because I feel the same way. I liked it, and I felt like the movie had a very good like stride. Like it just didn't. Every scene was like it's like cool. Like it just moved. It just had this like momentum through it from the very beginning to the very end. But it's like, what else do you say about it? It was just good. It was a kids movie. I'd say this, like if you listen to this because you're looking for a reason to watch things that we talk about, I would say the same reasons that I like the Sonic movies are why I like this movie.
That's fair.
It's just simple fun. Like nothing deep is happening. It's just easy, simple fun. It mixes all kinds of animation with live action filmmaking. I don't know. It was good. It did kind of feel like a lot of what made the movie good was spot the cameo or spot the reference, which doesn't necessarily detract from the narrative itself, but it is kind of like maybe they thought their script wasn't so strong, so they had to flood it with all this other shit to make people go, oh, I remember that from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But in any event, like that aspect of it was just really fun. Veronica and I watched, and it was like there was like Rick and Morty references. Dude, some of the fucking stuff that they bought the rights to was like unbelievable. Was the spoiler that you were trying to hide me from, was it Ugly Sonic? Yeah, at the moment I saw him, I was like, that had to be the one. He was so hilarious.
That was great, dude.
But like, just the budget for this movie had to be insane. Not because when you're a mega studio like Disney, you have the money. If you take one individual cameo, like Batman, who's in this movie, he's really only in it for like 3 seconds, like literally of screen time. So like, how much did they really spend? Well, to you and I, an unfathomable amount of money, but to Disney, it was probably nothing at all. It's just the amount of those that are in this, of shit that is not their property that they put in this movie. Is like, that had to be like 80% of the budget of this movie. And it wasn't even released in theaters. It's just released right on their streaming service. It's like, how did you make any of that money back? It makes no sense, but whatever. I got a really enjoyable movie out of it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to poke the lion.
And I kept finding myself really noticing how just impressive the CGI was for the... Yeah. I didn't expect it to be as good. Like I thought Dale looked very, very good. Like the CGI Dale looked very well done. And every time I saw something else CGI, I was like, huh. Like fucking J.K. Simmons voices the police chief who ends up being corrupt. Yeah. And I forget his name, but the way they animate him, he's CGI. They didn't claymation him, but they CGI'd him to look
as if he's
claymation. And the detail is so great that frame to frame, you'll see different patterns emerge on his like shoulders as if someone's been repositioning clay. Yeah. It's very well done. And yeah, the Ugly Sonic cameo was 100%. Dude, there's a fucking scene where he's talking and the camera pans in on his human teeth. Yeah. Oh, it's like very
slow
fun.
motion. Dude, that was the most amazing one to me though, because it makes me think like, how do copyright laws work? Is the fact that that's a current movie. It just fucking came out. So it's like, all right, granted it's a scrap design. So I'm like, is the fact that they didn't use that scrap design, did they basically abandon rights to it?
I don't know.
Because he was not in the movie for 3 seconds. He was in the movie multiple points. He kept coming back. So I'm like, how did they get that? I just don't get it. It's whatever. I don't want to question it too much because it was a really good time. I recommend it. It's fun, cute, simple. You'll likely remember nothing about it in 5 years, but while you're watching it, you'll have a very good time watching it. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Also, there was a fucking Darkwing Duck cameo in this bitch.
There
was so many I mean, obviously
by the OG Darkwing Duck too.
Yeah, they like a Scrooge McDuck was in there, bathing in the fucking money pit. He had like a private room in the bathhouse. Yeah. There was just so many. It's impossible. I remember last night thinking I want to remember this one, and I totally forget what I'm referencing. There was so many little fun little moments here and there that. Anyway, good movie. If you want our recommendation, I definitely say go watch it. Yeah, very fun time. Definitely worth a watch, especially if you're already subbed to Disney Plus because it's free for you. Yeah. So you got no fucking excuse now. What are you gonna do?
You gotta go do it. Stop. Hit pause on the podcast. Go watch it and come back.
Okay. Our last film to talk about is Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, and I would like Derek to start off because I've been taking.
I'd be happy
first position all night.
The only shitty thing about this movie is the title, because every time you want to talk about it, you have to say Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is just too many syllables. It's asking a lot. That's okay, but that's it. That's where it ends. It was really incredible.
EOOA, which is equally as awkward.
It's just weird. Yeah, it's even worse. This was incredible. I watched it. It's funny. We put it on one night, and then we got tired, and we stopped it halfway through. When we stopped it there, I was like, I don't think I'm really into this movie. Like, I didn't think it was bad or anything, but. And I was talking to a buddy at work about it, and he said, man, everybody's saying that it's one of the greatest movies ever made. And I was like, well, maybe it gets better in the second half. I was like, but I'm starting to think maybe it's just not my cup of tea. And then I got home that night, and almost like begrudgingly, I was like, this is really the only night I have to finish this. I guess I have to do it, right? Dude, it was incredible. I was crying my eyes out for like a half an hour straight at the end of this movie. It makes so many great points about it. It explores like nihilism in basically its two forms, which one is, you hear them say, the daughter say, who's achieved this like measure of dark enlightenment where she's always like, nothing matters, nothing matters. And then in the end, when basically the husband expresses some concern to Evelyn after she's had her not dark enlightenment, she says, don't worry, honey, nothing matters. Like, it has this message of just like, you can't change anything. So just be mundane and just enjoy these tiny little moments that you have with people who mean something to you. There was like this montage where she's like, I'm going to start fucking choking up thinking about it. My God. There's this montage where she's thinking of all these memories she has with her husband. Just these stupid times where he was overjoyed for no reason. He's in stark contrast to her sort of like stoic and maybe like, you know, disappointed personality, and realizing like, oh my God, this is what I've been missing this whole time. Meanwhile, in another fucking universe, he's saying to her, if I ever had the opportunity in another life, I would have loved sitting around just doing laundry and taxes with you. It was the sweetest line.
It was such a
delivered.
good moment.
Dude, I was sobbing, my nose blocked up. And the reason is simple. It's because I'm a narcissist. And it just reminded me of me and Veronica, because even though I'm a very cynical and pessimistic guy in real life, I co-host a show called The Cynical Nerd. Veronica is the more pragmatic and stoic one out of the two of us. And so she brings out a different side of me. I try to be positive and I try to be bubbly and I try to sort of lift her up. And it just made me think of our relationship. You know, we're in a single child family. You know, there was just enough similarities there that I could make it all about me, which is what it all comes down to, right? It's all about Derek. No, it was a beautiful movie. It was shot and edited like in a way I don't think is. I just don't think we're going to see something edited that well for a very long time. It was the lighting. The cuts. I mean, I'm just like, I have all these jambled thoughts coming to me. I obviously didn't think about what I wanted to say about this movie before jumping on a podcast and recording what I had to say about it.
Oh, I never think about things ahead of time.
It's just good. Like, it's just a fucking sweet movie, dude. It's so heartwarming. The one thing about it that I think is my criticism, it's my same criticism of their other, I don't know if it's their only other movie, it's certainly their only other big movie, and that's Swiss Army Man, is that they have this tendency to mash up very sweet, tender moments with important messages with just goofy dick and fart humor. And sometimes you're not ready for both of those at the same time. Like, there were a couple scenes where it was like, I'm having this emotional reaction where I'm like reflecting on whatever this thing is. And then just some dumb joke pops up.
Hot dog fingers.
Right. But
they
they
continue to interject. Like they're thinking when the moment happens, when she's like thinking through all the nice times in like all the timelines, and they show a scene of her and what's her name with the fucking hot dog fingers. Yeah. I was like, all right, well, thanks for stopping me from crying, because it pulled me right out of it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so it doesn't always work. I feel like they do achieve better than a lot of things, because look, one of the things I always complain about with Marvel movies is that there's like a serious battle going on and then someone makes a wisecrack. So like, I feel like they're better at that than most. So like, it's not always, sometimes it almost makes you have a more profound emotional reaction to whatever's happening. But there were sometimes, like you said, it took me out of it. It's kind of like, all right, are we serious right now? Or are we joking right now? Like, come on. And I felt the same way with Swiss Army Man, which again, I liked that movie too. I know that wasn't your cup of tea. But this was like, dude, this was a great movie. This was very, very good. It might be my favorite movie of the year. It might have fucking just like dunked over The Northman. I don't know. I really loved it.
Because ahead of time you told me that something made you cry for like 30 minutes. The whole time I'm like, oh, this must be it. Oh, this must be it. Oh, this must be it. I thought this movie was fantastic. I mean, probably not a surprise. It was. I didn't say anything in Rat Chat about it, but not because I was trying to hide my feelings about it. I just it didn't make me cry for 30 minutes. But the scene you're talking about, the laundry and taxes, was an incredibly heartfelt moment. Mm-hmm. That did make me tear up. I don't see myself and Samantha in those characters, but it doesn't matter. The sentiment is there, and I can definitely see how if you do see yourself in those characters, it would make it more impactful. I I just remember this fight scene where both guys have something shoved up their ass.
Yeah.
And the way she wins that fight by grabbing those makeshift butt plugs and yoinking them right out. The way that they pulled skills from other universe thems got a little fuzzy on the logic to me at a certain point, but it didn't matter because I understood the vector they were going with. I can't think of another film that I consider so wonderful that had a silent scene with two rocks that had captions in it for like almost a full 3 minutes of me reading the screen. There were a lot of things that surprised me about this film. And one of I think because I watched it like literally right before I went to bed last night, is why it's so fresh in my head. But one of them is how her daughter turns out to be the quote unquote bad guy. But it turns out she's not out to like ruin the universe. She doesn't want to kill everybody. She wants someone else to understand the nihilistic view that she has. That's it. She wants her mother, who basically thrust her on this path in one universe, to understand the hurt that she feels, the pain, the knowledge of nothing mattering, having, you know what I mean? And the kind of slow reveal that she's not just this blanket evil person made her as a character so much more meaningful. Evelyn's slow realization that there is still meaning in life and that the moments you're in right now are the only ones that you can affect. And therefore you should you should make sure that you're telling your kids that you love them and telling your husband that you love them and that you're trying to, I'm not saying you should try to find the good side in a husband that might be beating you every night.
Yeah.
But, she's like you said, Evelyn's so pragmatic. She's so, we got to pay the bills, blah, blah, blah. And to the point where I felt bad for the husband, even though he was the one serving divorce. It felt like he had no other choice. Like he was at his wit's end. He clearly loved her, but felt like he was held so far at arm's length for so long that there was nothing he could do. And to the point where when she saw the paper, she was like, we made a vow. Like she was the one saying, what are you doing? But he's like, you don't give me anything. Like there's nothing here. There's no affection. There's no, you look like you blame me for your fucking life.
Well, there's like a split-second flashback where he is like on his knees crying, saying please, and she's walking away from him. Doesn't say exactly what that's about, but I'm just thinking that was their way of showing, like, it's not like he was like, they ran into some trouble. He's like, all right, it's time for a divorce. I think we're seeing years and years of him trying to make it work before he just goes like, well, I can't make you happy, so, it's time.
Like, it seems like he thinks he's doing her a favor by by leaving, and that was really hard to watch. All that stuff was very painful. I've obviously not been in a marriage like that. And Samantha and I love each other very much, but I've been in relationships like that where the other person seems miserable and you're like, I don't know what else I can do besides just leave you the fuck alone.
Yeah.
So and that makes me more sad because I don't want to do it, and just the mother-daughter conversations at the end were just so fucking touching. I mean, I definitely turned on the waterworks for that. I definitely ugly cried for a couple minutes.
When the grandfather is like saying, like she's about to go into the everything bagel, and she grabs Evelyn, and he grabs Evelyn and says like, "We'll just let her go," and she says to her dad like, "How did you let me go so easily?"
Yeah,
that made me just like funneling tears out. That's what I mean. Like it's so hard to say exactly what it is, but it's just such an honest movie. It's so relatable. It's always silly when actors who are making millions of dollars and these like huge studio Hollywood directors tell you a message of like, just enjoy how mundane and life is and how simple everything is. It's like, okay, like enjoy drinking out of your golden fucking goblet tonight or whatever. But it's like, it doesn't make the message not true. It just makes the person saying it a hypocrite. But no, it was just a very, oh my God, dude, it was just a heartfelt movie. And when I first got into films when I was a kid, I would watch movies like Eternal Sunshine and American Beauty and all the try hard shit back then. And it's like when you're a kid and all you're used to is the action blockbusters, and now all of a sudden you start watching these sort of artful things. It sort of like makes you think things you never thought before, or you feel like, oh, I never thought of it that way, or like,
right.
It even changes you in a little, as you get older though, just in general, not just with movies, but you change less and less. Like you encounter less things that make you rethink things.
Right.
For whatever, I have no idea what the reason is, but it seems like the older you get, you just encounter those. They're way fewer and further between. This is the first movie in so long that I've seen that have made me like reconsider, like it's hard not to feel upset about being behind on bills or being behind in debt or whatever. But this movie like made me feel like I don't know. It just made me feel good about it in a weird way. Like not good about being in debt. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's just normal. It's just a part of it. Just enjoy the connections that you have with the people who are close to you. Yeah. It was just fucking good. I cannot recommend it enough.
Yeah, when it first started, I was unsure how I was going to feel about it, but the action, the fight scenes are top notch. They're over the top and super crazy creative because there's just one shot towards the end when her and her daughter are about to go at it. It might not be towards the end. I think it might be like 75% of the way through, right before she like reveals that she's not actually trying to like kill her or anything. And they show like them fighting, and she has a weapon in her hand, and it just starts like bingo style, like changing weapon types. And I'm like, that's such a cool fucking effect.
Yeah.
So the action was really fun. The fucking storyline is extremely touching. It tells a great message. It tells a surprisingly uplifting message. The one thing I will say about the ending is that, the last thing I'll say about the ending is that so she said the thing to her father about like, how could you let me go? And then she turns to her daughter, and her daughter is like, says like, we're not good together. Like, I just don't like myself around you. She goes to get in her car, and I went, oh wow, maybe they're saying like, how could you let me go to her dad? But maybe she realizes that the right thing for her to do is let her daughter go. I thought they were going to like flip it, and then she didn't and pulled her back. And although it felt like the more predictable way because they foreshadowed it a couple minutes earlier, it also felt good. It just made me feel good. Like just pulling her daughter out and being like, look, I know that we don't always see eye to eye. And she was like, you are getting fat. Yeah. And she's like, but you're my daughter and I love you. And I'm just like, fuck me.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll end it on this. I'm already a sappy guy. We've discussed this ad nauseum, which means that every so often I feel like it's a good thing when it comes to Grayson because it helps me hone in on little moments and just pick them out. And it was such a random thing today. We were in the living room. Samantha had just left to go clothes shopping. And he was like, Daddy, my butt's red. He realized that he had taken a shit and that he had been sitting in it. I don't know how long because he didn't tell me and I didn't smell it. And I'm like, oh, you in a poopy diaper. Okay, we'll go change it. I change him and get him all cleaned up. And I picked him up and I was like, all right, buddy, you want to go lay down in Daddy's bedroom, watch TV, or what do you want to do? And he put his head down on my shoulder. And I said, Grayson, could you look at me for a second? And he looked up, and this is 100% inspired by that film. And I said, I was like, can you do me a favor? And he was like, yeah. And he's 3.5, so he probably won't. But I was like, can you try really hard to remember this exact moment for the rest of your life? And I said, I love you, buddy. And I gave him a kiss on the head, and he put his head back down on my shoulder. And he was like, Daddy, I want to go watch my iPad on the TV in your bedroom. And I laid him down, got him all comfy. He fell right asleep. I checked in on him a couple times, looking at his adorable little fucking face. Yeah. And I just like that. This movie brought out the sap in me, like more so than usual. And that's the best thing I could say about it. It's a surprisingly hopeful film in like what is normally a world of shit.
Well, that's what was so impressive about it is that it spends so much of the time just convincing the viewer that like there's so much out there and everything is so big and so massive and you're so tiny.
You don't matter.
You could never matter to anything that ever happens in the grand scheme. Nothing that you could possibly do. Yeah. And then in the final couple minutes, it just goes like, nah, just kidding, motherfucker. Keep at it.
Yeah. It's like, but you make your own worth in life. It's the same principle that led me to be a very happy atheist.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't believe in God. I don't think there's some grand meaning in life. I don't think my soul is special and that it's going to persist beyond my fucking body rotting in the ground. But that doesn't matter because I love my wife and I have a great son.
Yeah.
And I get to wake up every day and see them. And it's about the things I do in my life and the way that I live it that makes me a good person, that makes me want to be a good person and be a good friend and husband. And, you know, and that's what inspires me to be a good person, not some fake deity in the sky. And, this movie kind of, like, to me, felt like they were reinforcing my beliefs.
Yeah.
Because like you said, they're literally going, you could literally be the most important person in your universe. And even that wouldn't matter because there are infinite universes. And sure. But that doesn't mean that the love that I have for my wife and son aren't important. They are. They're the most important things in my life.
So that's what I mean. Like, that's what it does. I know we're kind of repeating here, so this will be my last point. But that's what, when I say that it's been so long since I've seen a movie that changed me or made me rework the way I think about things, that's what I'm talking about. I watched this and I had to take this like emotional inventory of my life and like the things that I spend my time really hung up on are like, I have health issues. I have issues with debt. I'm in student debt. It's like fucking getting up and going to work every day. Same struggles everybody else has. But it's like, it's so hard it's so easy to get hung up on that shit and make it think that that's really like the prevalent force in your life. And it's really not. Like when you think, I hate when people say like, we'll just focus on the good stuff because it's like, it's easy to say that to someone who's like living underneath a bridge. Think of the positives.
Right.
But like, I really do have a lot of positive things in my life. Like, it's same ones you just listed off. So, Veronica and my son and my dog. And there's a lot of really, really beautiful things about just these tiny, stupid little things in my stupid little life. And I don't know. It was a profound movie. I really loved it.
I did too. And I love you.
I love you. I love you. I'm going to kiss you.
All right. I'm going to cry. What a great conversation. We're done, though.
We are.
Where can everybody find you?
They can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Dr. GloomMD. That's DRGLOOMMD. I'm currently playing Hollow Knight, and I'm fucking loving it. My God, it's so good. I'm going to play more tonight.
I didn't recommend that game to you, but I still feel like because I played it before and I know that it's great. In my head, I'm still like, yeah, it still goes to me.
Yeah, you're welcome, buddy.
I'm kidding. It doesn't go to me. My experience with that game was so weird. I think I told you this before, but for the listeners, I did one 24-hour stream ever. It was very successful, actually. I had like $150 goal or something. We got like 200 donated to the Children's Hospital. Yeah, it was great. But it was like an 8 to 8 thing. So that I could just go to sleep afterwards the next night and not worry about it. And one of the games I picked up for it was Hollow Knight. Got great reviews. Looked interesting enough that it would keep my attention for a few of those 24 hours. I played it for like 7 fucking hours. Like it was a huge, like I played it almost entirely, like from like 1 a.m. to like fucking like 7 or 8 the next morning. Yeah. I fucking loved it. And I had some random guy pop on my chat who I've never seen again because it happens when you play new games.
Yeah.
Who hung out for like a huge chunk of the night, who loved the game and was like stoked that I was playing it. And it was just a great memory. There was only like 4 people in chat because it's 4 o'clock in the fucking morning.
Yeah.
And I'm just crushing this game. The only thing that ever I never beat it. The only thing that ever intimidated me about going back was that there's not like an objective list. Yeah. So if you forget the next place you were trying to get to, you're in the lost zone.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. I didn't play it for a couple days after, and I wanted to go back. And I'm like, I don't know what I was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So I'd literally just be wandering the map looking for like a room I hadn't gotten into yet.
That's how Super Metroid was. It's like you'd get some key up in the northwest corner, and it's just like, well, figure it out, bitch. That's going to open a door somewhere on the planet.
Right.
It's up to you to decide.
You build like a mental checklist as you go. You're like, I open that one, can't open that one, open that. And you get something and you're like, oh, right. And I just too much time had passed and I fucking got lost. But wonderful game. I'm glad you played it. And I'll come watch you play it to see how far in you are. Because I got pretty far. It was a great game. Daddy. It's very fun.
Where can they find you, Chris?
Twitch and Twitter at TCN Plays. The Falcon build is done. I'm probably going to stream some Death Stranding. I may not do that tonight because we have to mix and master the podcast. But fuck it, that seems quirky enough of a game that I should toss on and can have some fun at the very least to make some jokes at its expense.
Yeah,
I didn't hate it when I played it. I told you this. I kind of just lost interest in it and moved on to other things. But I didn't hate it, and in fact, the combat had finally started to become fun around the time that I stopped, which is, like I said, I just got distracted. So, 100% down to go back to it. I'm looking forward to it. I may start it again tonight and then stream it tomorrow. Who knows such things? Who
could say?
Who is such a wise man that they know the answers? Not I. Not I, said the bad actor intimidating shit. Fuck that up. The bad actor imitating a blind man. See? I was getting somewhere, I promise. All right, we're going to go. We'll see you next week for episode 69. Nice.
See you then.